Were you a bit surprised the referee called it off?
All week, every week, every morning, on way to work, I ring Toddy, just to update, and obviously Monday night, heavy snow, and then all week, pitch was covered in snow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Toddy left at 1ish on Thursday and it was clear. Then when I rang him yesterday morning, he says it's still hard, but with rain expected. So this morning when I got up at daft o'clock and saw it rain, going it was never going to be on, unfortunately.
I know, it's a long. It feels strange. It's a long time since we've seen a flooded pitch, isn't it? We got used to it around April time.
We're on a bit of a roll, aren't we, with games, with playing games like, so it's a bit disappointing.
I know there's a lot. We've got a lot of fans out there who like looking at pictures of wet pitches up here, don't they? So hopefully that'll keep them happy for a week or so.
It might bring some of us old viewers back to life with a few positive comments about us not being on the pitch where there's rain. But ironically enough, I've just looked what time now, 11, and I've just looked at North East counties. Looking, I need somewhere to go.
Well, I think it's one of the worst bits of weather we've had for a while.
Every game, there's only 2 games at North East Counties Division 1 and Prem that are on at 11:30 on a Saturday morning. All others are either postponed or pitch inspection like now. So all area from Sheffield, Rotherham, Donny, further afield, Chesterfield, all games are off today. So it's not a surprise.
Now, one weird fact of where we are at the minute is that it took us till something like the 10th of April to get to 13 games last season. We've already hit 14, haven't we?
You're full of weird facts, James.
Well, it's not a weird fact.
Well, you said it's a weird fact.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's a bit of a bizarre one, isn't it?
And that's a good thing, isn't it? Because you look last year and we were cramming 30, we'd gone like 3-4 months to get 13 games in, and then we're looking at 6 weeks to get the same amount of games in. So to say that we're on 14 now, plus obviously league cup games, it's been good. It's been a good run, and hopefully I hope we're not going to get the same sort of amount of rain we had last year. And hopefully next week we're back at it. I think we're at home next week to Sheffield City, so fingers crossed we're back.
I mean, we were in this room when you spoke about feeling like should I walk away after like the Hallamshire Main game, but it's probably really revitalised you in this season. Yeah,
you look at back end of the season, and as I said it at the time, it was just an hard time. It's not what Wombwell are all about, and some people who were bringing in to play games weren't bothered about result, weren't bothered about club, and that hurt me a little bit. But there was no what I could do, as hands were tied. And one of the big things I did say to Paul, to Don, to Toddy, and probably all ultra lads who I've known 30-40 years, we won't have that next year. I would rather have a team of fighters who are here for club, and if it means us taking a step back and even a relegation to bring young lads through, then I'd rather do that than what we had at back end of last season, and players just coming and not caring about club. But it's worked out that we've started season. We've got a few, I won't say older lads, but a few lads in the mid-20s, early 20s. Charlie Hanley springs to mind. Charlie came in with Jack Cranswick. Didn't know much about Charlie, just came to training. He's been a breath of fresh air, bless him. Finn Allen came in with Sam Martin. Arguably, from start of the season, he's been his most consistent performer. Finn Durkin, I know he's left now, well he's dual registered with Rec, but Finn came back a different kid, confident in his own ability and showed what a good player he is, and he's gone back up and playing North East Counties. I was talking to him last night. And them few players, along with Goody, Jordan Good came back. He was one of the lads who did play last year and played with a little bit of art. Joel Hunt is someone I've known for a lot of years. He came and wanted to get involved with Saturday football. Sam Lee, Ben Priestley, 2 lads who I've known for years, both came in. Then you've got Cobb Calot, Jammer, Ethan Kenny started season with us, Davis and young Kieran Bradley. So you look at that mix of players, I've just mentioned probably 10, 12 players there, along with under 18s. And we've got a good club. Wingrove's obviously still with us, and Noxie, they were sort of cornerstone, and we built side round them. Sam Martin's, they'll be back hopefully in New Year. Alex Good's just started to come back. It's good. Oh, Callum Smith's come in, done great, Callum. It's looking good. It's a lot better changing room now than it has been in the last 18 months. It's a good changing room.
Well, yeah, we're going to Dogs next week, aren't we?
Not
literally in a bad way,
Dogs,
but
we're having a night out.
We're having a night out, so it should be good.
Yeah, a night out at Alderton. And again, some of what we haven't always done is lads have put that on the sends. They've decided, right, we need a bit of a night out, so we're gonna Alderton after Sheffield City game, and it should be alright. It should be a good night out.
So I think the direction we're moving now. Do you get recognised much? Or do you get your dinner for naught?
I get my dinner for nothing at school because I have to do a lunchtime duty.
So I was in Caroline's sandwich shop, or Caroline's delicatessen in Featherstone, and I got recognised at the time. What did you think to that? Were you in a bit of disbelief?
You put something in group and you were in there and they were all nudging and like, it's that famous kid in it, something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we obviously mentioned a few times, and they were chuffed a bit. I was talking to somebody called Sharon from Southampton on Wednesday, and I believe it's Jade who runs it, and she stepped forward and says, "It's you off YouTube, isn't it?" So I said, "Oh, you watched them," and somebody had shown them the videos. So I'm still sticking to you that you are the best sandwich shop around, Jade. I haven't been for a while. Apparently they've been waiting for me for a month or so because I haven't been in.
Well, I think I've been at Featherstone twice in my life, and I think that were both when that's
yeah. It's round the corner from there. So it's on the main street where all the shops are. Is Caroline's.
Is it near that pub, that Rover's Return? Is it near that?
Oh, Jade mentioned something about that. Might have been you who mentioned it. Must be.
That's
I can't comment on if it's near there.
When we played Wakey, we'd always have a drink there in bar at rugby ground, but Ultras found a nice little. It were just coming out of COVID. They found a nice little pub, Rover's Return. So when we go out there, we used to go to Rover's Return. So if I'm out there again, I'll call into the sandwich shop. So
the other next bit I thought is famous people you've met. I've pulled out a couple of 3 ones you'll know, and then 3 bit more obscure ones who I've met. So anybody you can think of initially you've met?
Famous? I think the most famous person I know, James, is you.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
that. I've known him for a lot of years, but somebody who's on TV every weekend, probably, Scott Ledger. Is he classed as famous, Scott? We were down here last week.
We got a good interview out of him about pot pies, didn't we? We talk about the important subjects.
I had a lot on this week, so I haven't even watched last week.
Have you seen the clip of Bill and Ben though?
I've seen the headline.
Bill and Ben saved the day.
I've seen that, and as I saw it, I saw Scott.
What did you think to Ben Knox? So you saw it live. What did you think? Did you know it was going to go wrong?
You can't. Well, immovable object in him, Billy. We mentioned it at the time. You might as well have tried picking the Atlas stone up at World's Strongest Man. Why didn't he just jump up, grab hold of the crossbar, and then Ben could have walked in? Bill and Ben, it just sums them up. Not a clue between.
We need to get Titch to put them on top of flower pot then, don't we?
Titch could do that.
Yeah, can you arrange that, Titch? So the next one, the one I've got, is Neil Warnock, and I've never told this one, but so basically, my dad was the director of Bradford Park Avenue when I was younger. And we played. Carl Shutt was the manager. You might remember, striker, and he'd arranged a friendly with Sheffield United, which I think was more under 18 reserves and possibly a couple of first team players. And obviously Warnock's come to watch, and he's in the boardroom, and I've gone in, and I had an autograph book which were fairly full, and I got a new one. So he's the first signature in this new autograph book what I've still got. So I've got in. Could you sign this? And he put to James, be lucky, Neil Warnock. But he was sat down on the table at the far end and he's moving teacups around, talking to this bloke. And I remember bits of it where he says like, oh, I could put Tongy here and I could do that there. And the bloke he's talking to is going, oh, you've got a bit of a dilemma there, and he's suggesting some ideas as well. And then when he's come out, my dad's, obviously he's come out Warnock and he's gone to presumably to changing room. But then the other bloke who we thought was the assistant manager, he comes out, or one of the coaches. And he comes out and my dad says to him, oh, you one of the coaching staff? And he went, no, I'm coach driver.
So we're doing
talking about tactics.
Team shape with coach driver.
He was talking tactics and running through some ideas with him.
Right.
So that's when I met Neil Warnock, yeah. And then another one football related is Brian Clough. I met him. Now, anybody who played in the Northern Premier League around, well, it was 2001, 2002. It was the year Bert and Albion were promoted out of the Northern Premier League to go into the conference. Anybody who was around that period does probably has a Brian Clough story. So like Chris Gowan, who played for Frickley, he got sent off at Bert and Albion, and he went and sat in the director's box, and Clough, he heard this voice of, I thought you were unlucky there, son, and it was Brian Clough. So Brian Clough, we played him on Boxing Day again, Bradford Park Avenue, and at Bradford Park Avenue, my dad was the prime mover and arranged for the Len Shackleton Wall, which is Bradford Park Avenue's greatest player from the 1940s and 50s. So we had a big do there where loads of ex-players from the 40s and 50s who were still around at the time, they came and had this celebration. And I don't know if it's still there, but a massive wall, and we had an England shirt donated by a chap called Arthur Gain in Scarborough, who Len Shackleton had given him one of his, I think he only played 6 times for England, 5 or 6 times, and he gave him one of his shirts, and that was the centrepiece of the thing. So Len Shackleton had a connection with Brian Clough because Len Shackleton bought Brian Clough his first car. And the other fact with Brian Clough is, and I said it was Boxing Day, he ended up retiring from playing because he broke his leg on Boxing Day at a game at Bury. Now my dad went to that because it was around the time of the big freeze. So we've gone up to the front and we've met Brian Clough, and there wasn't much said, but then my dad changed it because he said, oh, I brought you some stuff from the Len Shackleton memorabilia, what they'd created, and he suddenly changed. And he's like, that man, he did this for me and did that for me. And then he said, son, do you know it's a special day for me, but it's a sad day for me, Boxing Day, do you know why? And I said, well, my dad's told me. He goes, yeah, I broke my leg. Anyway, I've got it in my autograph book, Be Good James, Brian Clough, and he gave me a big hug, Boxing Day.
Just thinking, just knowing about a funny one, I don't think I've ever mentioned it before. I will have done it at time, but not for a long time. And it went over at Wednesdays, and it was FA Youth Cup, and Wednesdays were playing Liverpool. So we're in, I'm not saying we're in director's box, but we've got tickets as our coach at time. So at half time, we went down and we were like cup of tea and all that. And our Jake boy, they've only been 8, 9 at time, so we're talking what we're born 90, it's probably 2001, similar time, 2001, I would guess at that time. And when we're into having a drink, Ian Rush coming. So obviously Rush, goal scoring on. So our Jake says, and he must have retired, he'd retired at the time, Rushy. So our Jake says, I know him, Dad. And I'm like, Jake, you don't know him, like. So I thought, well, he might have seen him in a Panini sticker book, and I says, and he were walking past Rushy. I says, how do you know him? He says, I've seen him on telly. I says, well, he don't play anymore. He says, no, he says, I've seen him on telly, he's one of Chuckle Brothers. And honestly, and Rush heard him as he walked past, and just looked at RJ, and just shook his head. I said, come on, Jay, we'll go sit back instead.
Somebody showed me a picture, funny enough, the other day, and it was the lady who told me that the lady in Caroline's were called Jade, and her son had met Paul Chuckle last week at some kind of dinner.
And he does look like you, right?
I've only seen them in Panto, I've never seen him in person. Another two, I'll briefly skim over. Again, linked to Len Shackleton, we were doing a video 2006 time, Bradford Park and Relay, because it was like centenary. And John Helm, the TV commentator, he said, you need to interview Jimmy Armfield about Len Shackleton. It's like, well, how are we going to do that? Oh, I'll give him a ring, because they'd worked together on radio and was on TV. And he says, right, I spoke to Jimmy, he's up for it. So he gave Ben Man already 16. Now I was hoping I'd go over with someone else who was a bit older who'd do interview. So he gave my dad Jimmy Armfield's number, and he lived in Linden St Anne's, Kenny Tennant territory. So he rings him up. Anyway, it was August time, and there's a picture which I might put over the top. And we went to Jimmy Armfield's house in Linden St Anne's. But he said, I've only got half an hour, because he used to play, I think it was the organ at his local church, genuinely. And we met him, so we come in, wife answered the door, he said he'll be down in a few minutes. And it was like waiting for God, really, in the sense of it was a bit of a dark room, because I think it was like a real sunny day, so blinds were shut, and she wheeled in a trolley with all these cakes and all this. And then he came in, and it's like, good morning. I just remember him walking in, good morning. And obviously, the interview was probably horrendous looking back, because I think it was the first person I ever interviewed with Neil Redfern, and then I think I interviewed a couple of players over a month's time, and then I think I interviewed Jimmy Armfield. So I think we only got like 10 minutes worth of content, because I didn't really probe him. Whereas now, obviously, I would do a far better job. But we met him, and then I always remember him saying, see you again at some time, and I think he thought I was going to probably go higher. But it was good, because I think he knew I was only 16 or so. But we went to his house, and when you look back, you forget these stories. But that's one memory, because I read his book as well, because I got his book signed. He could have been an England manager, to be honest. He got Leeds to the European Cup final, didn't he? Which gets forgotten about. People think it was done Remy, but Jimmy Armfield. But I think after Leeds, I don't think he stopped managing. But very intelligent guy, and you can see why he was one of the best broadcasters in the country.
On about England managers, I did a week's coaching with Terry Venables. That was good.
Yeah, I never. We used to go to Leeds United reserve games, so I've got all sorts of autographs. I've got Mick McCarthy. Because we also met Bobby Robson, which I haven't really got a story about, but it was the week when he turned 70 when he was still managing Newcastle. Yeah. They played Bayer Leverkusen on the Tuesday, and then he came to Leeds reserves on the Thursday. It used to be at Wakefield Trinity's ground, the rugby. Yeah. So that was the first game I went to, and I got Bobby Robson's autograph. But the game that year, Venables was the manager of Leeds, but I said I didn't want to go to a game where Venables turned up to Leeds reserves, and my dad were having a go at me saying, "Oh, you could have got his autograph," because my dad wasn't willing to look to him. But I missed out on meeting him.
We did a week's course. I say a week. He came out 2 days. It were run through News of the World, and it was Terry Venables soccer camp, and it was down at Reading University in summer holidays. And I remember him coming, and he come in a helicopter. Landed, we were like all coaching, and he landed in an helicopter. And there were kids from all over the country, Scotland down to like Devon. They were brilliant, really good camp. And he landed in a helicopter, and he came and he was watching some sessions, and he obviously heard my accent, and he called me Charlie Williams. He just kept calling me Charlie. For like 3 days. All right, Charlie, was your whippet? But like, he was just a proper nice bloke, right nice bloke. And he signed his book, and he put, got it at home, to my friend Terry from your friend Terry. Yeah. Brilliant. So the other three, which are a bit more obscure, and I only remember this because he was on Great Hits Radio the other day. Danny O'Donnell, I met him, believe it or not, the Irish singer. Yeah. I met him, there's a picture of my mum with him. So I met him, because my grandma and granddad were obsessed with Danny O'Donnell. So I could probably tell you a lot of Danny O'Donnell songs, because you can imagine, because you used to spend a lot of time when I was younger, so at school holidays, for certainly 4 weeks, I'd be with my grandma and granddad, I'd be going to, and they used to have a routine where they'd go to Harrogate on a Friday, York on a Wednesday, so you'd end up listening to all these songs. So I met him. Another one who I'm pleased to meet, Sophie Aldred, do you know her? No.
She played Ace in Doctor Who in the 80s.
Never watched.
I've met her a couple of times. And then a final one, which you'll laugh about, which you must have watched. And I only remember this the other day, and I've got a signed, like theatre poster. Yeah. They were signing these afterwards, and I've got it signed. I don't think it's in Great Nick, but I've got it signed, because I used to have it on my wall. Bodger and Badger. I've met them. I'm like,
are they like two puppets, Bodger.
Have you not seen Bodger and Badger?
No.
Bodger and Badger.
Oh yeah, now you've sang it, Harry.
No, mashed potato.
I've never seen it.
Jake must have watched it in the 90s.
If they're real people.
Well, it's a badger, I'll get it up. You must have seen it. He's passed away, the bloke.
So I'm the same. What I'm saying
well,
is...
basically, Andy Cunningham, who played him, I'm assuming he had his hand under. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who
they are puppets then?
Well, one of them is. But you can imagine it's a thing. And he was like, they were telling kids don't stroke the badger's arm because he was signing it with the badger.
Badgers are dangerous.
Well, I think it was more because he would have swerved his hand like, but hang on, I've pressed the wrong button here. Stay signed out.
Bodger and Badger?
Yeah, you need to get Maria.
To what?
To show you.
With game being off this afternoon and there being no county.
Can you see? Look, Bodger and Badger.
So, is this guy, which is Bodger?
Well,
is he Bodger?
I don't know what he had another name though, which you'll probably Andy.
You need to show him, because we could be looking.
Well, no, people have probably seen it.
So Bodger...
I don't know the background to Bodger, but basically, it's a badger. It ran for 9 series on CBBC. I was surprised Jake never watched it. But it was at the Leeds Varieties, if anybody's wondering where I saw them. I had a feeling you'd know exactly who they were.
Why?
Do you know Pingu and Fireman Sam then?
Fireman Sam, because our Theo watches it.
Right. Well, if you've got any other ones you want to throw in for Terry,
is Fireman Sam in with Norman? Norman, that little naughty kid.
Yeah. What did Jake watch when he was younger then? Rosie and Jim, do you remember that?
Rosie and Jim, he's got, funnily enough, well, embarrassing, he got 3, dolls, material dolls of Rosie. Were there 3 of them, 3 characters, or were they just Rosie and Jim?
I think they were just Rosie
Might
and
be
Jim.
the wrong person, but he got 3 doll characters, and they're still at our house, and Marcy and Theo play well.
Another one for you, I've never met the bloke, but I've seen him 3 times in Panto. Sooty.
Oh no, you haven't.
I am. Well, I've never met him, sorry, but I've seen him. Sooty in Space or one of them, and there's Sooty
I know Sooty and Sweep, I think what about
I think it were Alhambra where I saw him. Have you never seen Sooty in concerts?
No. I've seen him on TV.
Right. So, I think we'll round it off there.
Mr Bean, RJ used to watch.
Oh yeah. I know this might bring it down again because we don't talk about politics, but it was something I thought about the other day. The 2003 season, we went to Hull City a few times because my dad had a connection with Secretary. And one of the games, they played Mansfield and it was Bolos Miles' debut. They just bought him off Aston Villa, yeah. And he played for him for a long time, to be fair. But his debut was against Mansfield. Keith Curl at Mansfield manager.
Met him.
4 minutes to go, they scored in Mansfield. I think it was Liam Lawrence, possibly. It was somebody who went on higher.
He was at Charlton, I think, he won it.
Sunderland, certainly. Anyway, that game, we were in the director's box. And after the game, I was stood next to John Prescott, believe it or not. But I just thought about it the other day because he passed away, didn't he?
They were on about him yesterday up in Pompey's about Prescott, leave it at that.
Yeah, but anyway, he was stood next to him at that game.
We Keith Curl, he was playing for Sheffield at the time, and something what was linked to you actually. We did a disability coaching session on Hillsborough, and again it went out at Wednesdays, and I went as part of Wednesday team, and they were like, they're all coaches, were either Wednesday coaches or Sheffield United coaches, and it were on Sky actually, or might be in calendar, and one of the sessions I were doing, which you can't, ironically enough, you can't do now, were about heading, defensive heading, and Keith Curl come past, and he was playing at the time, and I says, we've got a defender, centre half. I says, perfect, can you give us a demo about, defensive heading, high, long, get this, and he looked at me, I says, serious, fuck kids, like. So I said, I'll serve you a couple of balls up. He went, I don't head ball. I says, when ball comes down to me, bring it down on chest and play out front back. And I'm not the biggest Sheffield fan. I couldn't at time because he was bigger than me and he looked quite imposing. And I just felt like saying, you play for Sheffield, you just ump everything wrong. You've never brought all down on your chest. But I didn't, I just accepted it. And to be fair, I threw it to him and he just chested it down and just pinged it, But that's my Keith Curl.
If you haven't seen the video, then you haven't seen my heading at half time.
I didn't see that because Sunday, Noah's dad, no, it wasn't, it was Max's dad. Noah didn't play for me Sunday, he was injured from Saturday. And Max's dad, who were in the squad ironically today, he came to watch and he says, what at half time?
Yeah, Davis was to blame for that.
He says, he must have seen it Sunday morning before the game. He says, I've watched that. He says, what is he doing? I says, oh, he says, cameraman. He says, why, what are we doing? He says, heading ball. He says, he's a proper head the ball. And I just laughed. I said, I haven't seen it. So I've seen it, a little clip of it, but I haven't seen it.
Basically, Dylan Sykes, I had camera in my hand, and Dylan Sykes fired it towards me. I did two headers. And then I think Davis was going on about you better than Ben Knox. So I took my coat off, threw it back down, hey, camera Davis, and then I waiting for it.
I'll watch it, I'll see what they're like.
So hopefully we're going to be back next week, aren't we?
I hope so. Pitch, it's heavy, well it's not heavy, it's got a lot of standing water, but forecast looks half decent. Hopefully we'll be back for next Saturday.